Morning. It's a very sunny April day. I'm in the garage again this morning because the new car's on the road. Well, almost on the road. After a few weeks of tinkering, changing the brakes, overhauling the brakes, because the last thing the previous owner hadn't done was the front brake hoses. I couldn't get a pedal, gone through the shoes, the cylinders, the master cylinder, and the last thing that neither of us had looked at was the front brake hoses, which he'd given me with the car. I said, oh, they need doing, and of course they needed doing. So I've now got brakes, sort of. It's getting there. But without further ado, I shall show you what I bought. Here she is. This is, ladies and gentlemen, Eartha, the Reliant Kitten. Slumbering for 20 years, last MOT'd in about 1998. The little 850cc British motor. So I'm so pleased to have this car. It came about that I work in the motor factors, and a customer of ours came in and said, I've got a couple of classic cars, do you know anyone who might be interested? I was like, what have you got? Went and looked at it, had a chat, and the deal was done. He got to the point where he sort of ran out of patience. He's got maybe one or too many cars, and I think he'd gone as far as he wanted to do with it, and he said, look, I'm not getting anywhere with it, it's not getting finished, and I've lost patience, which is understandable. We all have those things, and especially if you've got more than one car to take your attention away, things can get a little bit on top of you. So I said, look, what do you want for it? We made an arrangement, and I had it collected about a month ago. Since when it's been sat, I've not had a lot of time to go over the car, because unfortunately I was trapped a nerve in my shoulder, and that's just incapacitating me for the last few weeks, which has been so frustrating, because I'll be wanting to get this car on the road and running again. So I've just come inside because it's a bit quieter in here. All my neighbours are out in force today doing the gardening, so a bit frustrating for me, because I just want to talk to you and show you the car. This little kitten has been off the has been off the road for the last 20 years. It's 3 owners from new. I'm fortunate enough to have a stack of service history with the car, including the original sales invoice, which is lovely to have. Previous 2 owners have fortunately done quite a bit of work to the car. Chassis is rock solid, the engines have been overhauled, as has the gearbox. But the one thing the previous owner couldn't get sorted was the brakes. Now, he told me I've done the shoes, I've done the cylinders, they're all correct for the vehicle. I put a new master cylinder on it, I've changed the push rod over because it now has an MGB1, and the further push rod is slightly different, so you have to change the rod over. But that's been done as per advice from the Kitten Owners Club. But he said the last thing I haven't done is the brake hoses. Here's a pair of brake hoses I think they probably need doing. When I bought the car, it had no brake pedal at all, and lots of heads were scratched. I thought, well, the last thing that hasn't been changed is the hoses. If they've deteriorated or gone hard, then possibly that's the problem. It was. So with a bit of swearing and a few spanners and a couple of cups of tea, I've managed to get those changed. That was an absolute pig with the body on. Those who have kittens or Reliance might be able to sympathise with me, but the drum end of things, you can undo that quite nicely, but where the cable, or the hose rather, chased it into the chassis, what a pig that was to get 2 spanners on, especially if something's been sat for a long time, which it had been. So I've now got a brake pedal. I've been out in the car already for a quick test drive today, and it's running reasonably well. I've already taken a little video of me driving the car, so that'll be after this segment. But what I was talking about in that section is that I've only set the carburetor up to base settings, so I've done the timing by ear, so it's running, but it's not quite there yet. But what a difference. To have the car sat in the garage for weeks on end and not be able to drive it is so frustrating for me, because I like to be able to use my classics. But I'll swap the camera around now and we'll just show you the interior. So moving into the interior, the seats are in excellent order. I'm very fortunate that, because these normally go on the bolsters, you'd expect seats are sort of 40 years old to be in really poor nick, but these have aged really, really well. Door cards not so. I'm after a set of replacements if anyone's got anything, but the bottom of the driver's door is a bit mullered, so I'm going to try and find source some spares from somewhere. I guess there might be something out there. Get in touch, someone, in the comments. So in the centre console you've got the gear change there. It's quite a notchy change on these. I don't know if that's the way they're like. It just seems to be quite notchy, but maybe Reliant owners will be able to tell me if that's what they're meant to be like. You've got show control there, heat controls, ashtray, fresh air ventilation, very nice to have, especially on a hot day like today. Wiper switch for the front wipers, rear demist, light and heater control there. That's a single speed fan. Over to the other side, we've got hazard warning switch and a blanking plate, which I would imagine you could probably fit something like a fog switch in. Coming over to the steering wheel, you've just got one indicator stalk, which is that one there, down for right, up for left, and that's also your main beam and horn. Well, I'll just show you under the bonnet quickly. And here it is, the little 850cc engine. So this runs an HS2 SU carburetor with a separate float chamber, which is a lot easier to work on. And you adjust the mixture for the fueling underneath. There's a little jet there. I'll show you on the camera. That's where you adjust your mixture just by turning that nut. A little bit more access on these. With the Robins, the engine is slung further back and it's an absolute pain to get to anything. In fact, I think you have to access most of it from inside the driver's compartment. So that noise you can hear at first is a straight cut gear. Unlike the second, third and fourth, which you've got synchro mesh, first as it's reversed is straight cut, which means it's a little bit noisy. Having not had another Reliant to compare it to, I don't know if it's as it should be, but from what people have told me through the interweb, that's just what it is. I've picked the one day of the week where it's actually quite busy on the roads. The weather is lovely today. It's the first decent weather since they relaxed lockdown, and everyone is on the roads, which is as it should be really. People need to get out and about. But yeah, she seems to purr along quite nicely. It's the same 850cc engine that's fitted to the Robin and the Fox, and of course the Kitten. This is the first day I've had a chance to drive the car. Up to this point I wasn't happy with the way it was running, and it had no brakes, which some could say is a bit of a drawback. Yeah, but Eartha seems happy enough. Seems to be idling all right. Pulls really cleanly. And that's only on base settings. I've just tweaked the carburetor to what I thought was quite right. I'm going to pull him back to my house now and have a cup of tea, I think, because it's actually got a bit of an engine oil leak at the moment. I don't want to drive it too far. Back in the garage.